The observation deck of Station Kepler-7 hummed with the usual cacophony of 1,000 species trying to coexist in the cold vacuum of space. But in the farthest corner, away from the judging eyes of the Galactic Council representatives, Lena Martinez set up something the station had never seen before, a celebration. She worked quickly, her human hands deftly hanging colorful streamers across the cramped quarters she'd requisitioned. Paper decorations, primitive by galactic standards, but filled with warmth that no holographic display could replicate. On a makeshift table sat 7 wrapped packages, each one carefully prepared over the past 3 cycles. The Vrelnari cubs were scheduled to arrive within the hour. 7 orphans. 7 survivors of a species the galaxy had already written off as extinct. Lena paused, studying her handiwork. The other species on the station had called her mad when they learned of her plan. The Vrelnari were apex predators. Their homeworld destroyed in the Confluence War, their adults stood 3 meters tall, with obsidian claws and rows of serrated teeth designed to tear through reinforced hull plating. The cubs, though smaller, already showed the savage instincts that had made their species feared across 12 sectors. "Why would you celebrate monsters?" Ambassador Thelanox had asked, his crystalline form flickering with disapproval. "Their kind knows only violence. Let them fade into history's shadow." But Lena had seen the reports the Council tried to bury. She'd read about how Vrelnari cubs underwent a bonding ceremony at their first solar cycle. A ritual that taught them pack loyalty, honor, and the difference between predation and murder. Without it, the psychologists predicted, these 7 would become exactly the monsters everyone feared feral, unable to integrate, destined for isolation or destruction. The door chimed. Lena's heart hammered against her ribs as she opened it. 7 pairs of golden eyes stared back at her, set in faces that were both alien and heartbreakingly young. Their scales ranged from deep purple to midnight black, and their claws clicked nervously against the deck plating. Behind them stood Warden Crix, a Valorian whose tentacles writhed with obvious relief at handing off his charges. "1 hour, human," Crix gurgled. Then they returned to containment. Lena nodded, but her attention was fixed on the smallest cub at the back of the group, Pox. His file said he was barely 4 rotations old, the runt of the survivors. While the others held their heads with predatory pride despite their circumstances, Pox's gaze darted around fearfully, and a long scar ran across his snout, a reminder of the attack that killed his birth pack. "Come in," Lena said softly, stepping aside. "Welcome to your bonding ceremony." The cubs entered cautiously, their nostrils flaring as they processed the unfamiliar scents. Lena had researched Vrelnari customs for months, trading favors and information to access the restricted xenanthropology databases. She knew their language, their traditions, their songs. "I know you've lost everything," she began in Vrelnari. The guttural syllables awkward in her human throat but recognizable. The cub's eyes widened in shock. "I know the galaxy has abandoned you, but I'm here to tell you that you're not monsters. You're not mistakes. You're Vrelnari and your people had honor." The largest cub, a female named Kale, growled low. "You're prey species. You know nothing of honor." Lena smiled sadly. "My species knows something about being underestimated. We know about survival. And we know that what you are isn't determined by what others fear in you. It's determined by what you choose." She gestured to the table. "On your world, cubs received their first gift at the bonding ceremony. A tool, a reminder that you're more than your teeth and claws." One by one the cubs approached. Lena handed each a wrapped package, watching as their talons carefully tore through the paper, a material that would dissolve harmlessly, leaving no waste. Inside each box was an item she'd crafted herself. Data tablets loaded with Vrelnari history, star maps showing where their colony ships had traveled, musical recordings of their ancestral songs. But for Pox, she'd made something different. The small cub unwrapped his gift with trembling claws, revealing a carved wooden figurine. It depicted a Vrelnari warrior in traditional armor standing protectively over a group of smaller figures. Lena had spent 40 hours carving it from wood imported from Earth, working from historical images. "That's Hunter Vexler," Lena explained. "He was your people's greatest defender. Not because he was the strongest or most vicious, but because he understood that true predators protect their pack. He once held a mountain pass alone against an invasion force for 6 days, protecting a refugee convoy of cubs and elders." Pox's claws traced the figurine's details, and something remarkable happened. A soft, keening sound emerged from his throat. The Vrelnari expression of profound emotion, something between a purr and a cry. Why? Kale demanded, her voice cracking. Why would you, a human, do this for us? Lena met her golden gaze steadily. Because 70 years ago my species was nearly destroyed in the First Contact War. We were called vicious, primitive, dangerous. The council debated whether to sterilize Earth, but one alien diplomata, Valorian named Crixville, stood before the assembly and argued that we deserved a chance to grow beyond our worst instincts. She paused, letting the weight of her words settle. I'm here because someone gave us hope when we needed it most. Now I'm giving it to you. The hour passed in a blur of stories, songs, and shared food. Lena taught them a human tradition, making wishes before extinguishing candles, and watched as 7 predator cubs closed their eyes and hoped for futures they'd been told would never come. When Warden Crix returned, his tentacles froze at the scene before him. The cubs sat in a circle, passing Pox's figurine between them reverently, while Lena sang a lullaby in Vrelnari. This is irregular, Crix protested weakly. This is necessary, Lena replied. She handed him a data chip. I've drafted a petition to the council. These cubs need proper education, cultural preservation, and integration support. I've secured sponsorships from 12 human colonies willing to host them in exchange for cultural exchange programs. The council will never approve, they will, Lena interrupted, because humans understand something the rest of the galaxy forgets. Predators aren't born, they're made. And so are families. As the cubs filed out, Pox lingered at the doorway. He clutched his figurine tightly, then turned back to Lena. In halting standard, he spoke his first words in the common tongue. Thank you for seeing us. Lena knelt to his eye level, her own eyes bright. Pox, the galaxy will see you for who you choose to become. Make Hunter Vexler proud. Long after they left, Lena stood alone in the decorated room, watching through the viewport as transport ships departed for human colonies. 7 cubs, 7 chances. 7 living reminders that hope wasn't just a human trait, it was a choice any species could make. And somewhere in the cold mathematics of the universe, survival stopped being about the strongest and started being about the most compassionate. That, Lena thought, was the most human thing of all.